I looked out over the moors, shading my eyes. Inside the ring, everything looked all soft and blurry, but out here in the open, the light's so clear. The edge is so sharp, it kind of burns your eyes. We can't go back. Yet at the same time, I turned to the stag. You have no idea. There are other humans out there, humans who will want you dead. They send out patrols. They kill anything that moves. Colours, former soldiers sent in the early days to try and stop the virus by slaughtering contaminated herds or packs. When that failed, their orders changed. They were told to kill anything non-human that moved, and they did. I jump off the stag. Stay here with your wild. Let me go. I will make my own way home to my city and find you your cure. Even though I've no idea how to get there, the stag doesn't reply at first. Instead, he straightens his long neck and gazes at the horizon. All I can see are miles and miles of empty moor stretching ahead. And then, just beyond them, through a blue haze, the rocky tips of a mountain range. So much outdoors, like I've never seen before. He looks like he's seeing something else, something far away inside his mind. The great open, he says at last. We lost so many on this land as we made our way here. Some from the plague, others at the hands of those you describe. I made a promise in their memory, that I would keep those who survived the journey safe as long as I had breath in my body. He wheels about to face me. And if that means I must carry you all the way into the heart of the human land itself, then so be it. The pigeons dance about in the sky like crazy, while the general clambers out of my pocket and with a flutter of his little wings buzzes onto the stag's horns. That's the spirit, stag, he chirps. Let's see what you're really made of, stag or mouse. The deer growls angrily and shakes his head from side to side, trying to tip him off, but the general clings on. They're both missing the point. I try one last time. Stag, the quarantine zone. It's too dangerous. I'm not even allowed to be out here. I know it's a long way, but I'm small. I can hide. I'll find help. I made a promise, says the stag bluntly, and lowers his horns at me. I'm not going to disagree with them, so I climb back onto him. The general gives a cheer and scuttles up to the very highest tip of the horns, shouting in such a deep voice that the pigeons nearly fall out of the sky in surprise. So be it. Let the journey begin. Now then, says the stag to me, warmer than before, where is this famous city of yours? Once again, I realise I have no answer to this question. I don't even know where we are. But this time I'm not going to make the same mistake as in the ring of trees and just guess. I think of where we lived and what Dad taught me before I got taken away. On the tip of a map, in the south, I think. Can you guide us south, birds? He calls out to the pigeon. I doubt it's going to be that easy. But they yell out, it is enough, before speeding off over the moors. Correction, the grey pigeons speed off over the moors away from the ring. The white pigeons flap up into the air and head straight back towards the forest. He realises his mistake in time and wheels around, going as fast as he can to catch up with the others, muttering to himself, You say north, I'll fly north. You say south, I'll fly north, suggests the stag, as the little bird passes overhead. I dig my knees in tight, and he sets off across the fields without another word. Just like that, the pigeons seem to know automatically which way south is, and the stag only sniffed the air before following fast behind. I've never seen the world from the back of a deer before. The country is so smooth and wide, nothing but open land for miles. As the stag pounds across the ground, the pigeons fly high above our heads, occasionally disappearing over the top of a hill in the distance. Riding along, the animals tell me things I never knew before. The grey pigeons tell me how they never forgot a tree or a face, and the white pigeon tells me what a forgettable face I have. How they always know which way is north, south, east or west. They don't even need to see the sun or the moon. The stag tells me about all the different scents he can smell. Here was a fox a long time ago, there are old sheep walker ponds, and there is good grass for grazing over there. He uses his nose more than his eyes. And what about me? I ask. I don't follow, says the stag, sweeping down a grassy slope. I mean, you can do all these things. That's what you do, you're animals. But how can I talk to you? I still don't understand. Your voice is a gift, he says simply. You keep saying that. It's not normal though. How did it happen? How come I can talk to you and no one else can? I can't even talk to other people. He suddenly stops on a hillock of reeds, the colour of rusty metal, looking down at the valley below and sniffing the air. He doesn't answer my question. Was it something I said? I ask the general. But he doesn't reply either. He's following the gaze of the stag, his antennae bristling. I can't see what they're looking at that's so special. Stretching over the dip in between the hills, there are 4 crumbling walls, connected together to form a square. Each wall is made of huge jagged rocks, each one at least half the size of me. To try and lift even just one would be impossible. As the stag slowly approaches the first wall of heavy rocks, only loosely still held together, I can see dry and crusty layers of moss spread across the top, which the pigeons immediately settle on and start pecking at. The The white pigeon joins them but loses his balance and tumbles over the other side in a cloud of feathers. "Look carefully, Kester," said the grey birds, gesturing with their wings at the walls. "This is the first fold. It has been here since man first kept beasts at his own." They sing together, strands of moss dangling from their beaks. There is one small gap between the walls, marked by 2 slabs of stones, jammed upright in the ground. Going closer, I can see that these stones are inscribed. Dotted lines, circles within circles, arrows and pointed letters, none of which make any sense to me. And blowing in the wind, caught in a crack in between the 2 rocks, one fraying strand, damp and sour to smell, wool. What have some old sheep wool got to do with my gift? A storm cloud passes overhead, and for a moment we are in shadow. The grey birds have turned black, and their eyes sparkle as they tell me. "Everything. The dream of your gift begins here." "Yes," says the white pigeon, clambering back onto the wall as the cloud moves on. "Here is your gift, some old sheep." The other birds peck at him crossly, knocking him off again. They're very solemn and serious when they turn back to me, though. "This is the very spot where man first surrounded sheep with walls of stone, so he could wear their wool and eat their young." "So?" I shrug. "What's that got to do with anything?" "Do you not know the old dreams?" they ask, sounding amazed. "Of course I don't." They jump down off the top of the wall and beckon me to sit down. I find the driest patch of ground I can, leaning against the old stones to be out of the wind, and they gather around my feet in a circle. "Animals only believe in 2 things," they explain, "in calls and in dreams. Calls which are—" They pause, as if trying to think of the right words. "Well, you might think of them as songs. They are how beasts summon one another in a time of need, and how we let each other know our deepest feelings. The stag called the last wild together, and the cockroach called first led us to Spectrum Hall, to you." I try to imagine the general singing. "And dreams?" "Dreams are our stories, how we learn about animals before us, dreams which have passed down from beast to beast, since the very first to walk upon this land. And there is one dream we tell each other the most." "What dream is that?" They hesitate, glancing at each other nervously, as if they shouldn't be discussing this. "Well, come on," I say. "You've got to tell me now." The grey pigeons burst out in a fluster. "It's yours." I stare at them in confusion as the stag steps back from where he had been looking sharply up and down at the field beyond the fold. "And you are not permitted to hear it," he snaps. "That is sacred animal knowledge for animals alone. Perhaps one day. I've had about enough of their secrets and strange ways. You have to tell me something. I'm the one trying to help you. Like, why do you keep looking at the sky, for example?" He sighs and looks back up at the gathering clouds. "Whenever an animal dies, wherever we are, we shall know, because the sky weeps tears," he says. "And when the last animal on the earth dies, the dream tells us that there will be the storm of storms. And—" The stag stops suddenly, his nose twitching. "Humans," he says. "There have been beast hunters here." "How long ago?" I ask. "Half a sun at most, but I can still smell them. I can't smell anything except his fur and the dampness of the air. And they're coming back." With that, a large van comes over the brow of the hill opposite on 6 massive off-road tyres. Long, with a rocket-shaped front, it looks like a giant blind varmint that has crawled out of the earth, splattered with mud, a tinted windscreen hiding the people inside. The machine gives a growl as it tips up over the top of the hill, before coming down with a crash, the tyres gouging muddy ditches out of the earth. I clamber back on the stag, and without another word, he leaps over the folds, and we are bounding off down the grassy slope towards the nearest trees.